Hello, everyone, and good morning. Thanks for joining us today for some more Dhamma teachings from Bhante Sumitta. So this morning we have Gita, Aaron, Jens, Poonam, Kyle, Kumu, Ran, Ayavimala. Good to see you, Venerable, as well as Miguel joining in. And hello as well to Edward and Jayanta, and to all other friends who are just viewing at this time. So this morning, Bhante Sumitta will continue sharing some words about the gradual teaching. And if you have questions at any time, feel free to type them into the live chat. So I'll pass things over to Bhante Sumitta for this morning's Dhamma teaching.
Samantha Cakkavalesu Atra Gaccantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajasa Sunantu Sagga Mokkhadan Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sile patitthaye naro sapañño Cittang panyang ca bhavayang Atapi nipako bhikkhu soimang vijataye jatang te. Honor to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Samma Sambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Hello, everyone. Good morning. So today's Dhamma discussion will be the next topic of yesterday's overall teaching, Dana kathaṁ, Sila kathaṁ, Sagga kathaṁ, Kamanang adinavang, etc. So today we will discuss about Sila. I just searched through the Tipitaka. The word yesterday I could not share that with you. The word dana is mentioned 4,878 times in the Pali Tipitaka. And another word like similar to dana is also called chaga. It is also mentioned 497 times. And the word sila is mentioned 5,861 times. So this can be very useful to you. And in many suttas and innumerable suttas, we have this beautiful word called Sila. And there are so many suttas talking about Sila. Sila is the very foundation of our spiritual life. And the Buddhist education, what we call whole person education, is a very familiar designation here. And that whole person education is incomplete without Sila. In Buddhism, Sila is the very foundation, and because of Sila, we go to Samadhi, and from Samadhi, we go to Panya. So I think in the modern education system, we lack that. We do not have Sila, but rather we always see people trying to feed the brain of the children. They don't really concern about the heart of the children. So they have a lot of information. They are very, very educated. Really, facts and figures, if you see, they are very rich. But their heart is not really that rich. I think just there is something that the modern education system has to reconsider. I think it is because of these things that we are more into craving and more into like even doing like earning money, doing business and all. That's all okay. But then we also have to consider about the other fellow human beings and also our nature. And this thing, for example, COVID-19 has taught us such an important teaching lesson. COVID-19 has taught us that we humans have been very selfish, and we do not care about the others. We rather care about ourselves. We have been very selfish, and now we had to pay the price. And if we are more considering about the nature, if we are more considering about our fellow human beings, I think we shouldn't have suffered that much. When Amazon forest was burning some time back, people still didn't worry about that, didn't pay enough attention. Then Australia, we saw that wildfires in Australia. It was like raging, like hell inferno. It was really, really scary, and we saw how those millions of animals were also suffering, apart from the humans. And then we still didn't pay enough attention. And then came with a much more powerful wave of nature's punishment by way of COVID-19. We see how people are suffering. They have been traumatized. Still, we are trying to figure out how to get rid of that. So the fear factor and all these things are still there. And we have seen how people have been still not learning a lesson from this. And just wanted to share that with you to begin with our discussion today. One day, Venerable what is the name of the monk who wrote Visuddhimagga? Buddhaghosa. Venerable Buddhaghosa went to Sri Lanka. His teacher asked him to go to Sri Lanka, In Sri Lanka, there was a temple called Mahavihara. Mahavihara was the headquarters of Theravada Buddhism those days. This is 5th century AD. When he went to Mahavihara, they didn't want to accept him right away. They said, he said, I want to use your library, can I? And they said, okay, we will give you a library, the library access, but before that you have to prove that you are capable of using our library. So they gave him Pali stanza. Okay. Anto jata bahi jata, jataya jatita paja, tantang gotama puchami, ko imang vijataye jatang. That was the thesis given to him. And Venerable Buddhaghosa wrote a complete thesis of what we call Visuddhimagga, covering the entire Tipitaka. And the answer was starting with Sile patithaya naro sapanyo chittang panyancha bhavayang atapi nipako bhikkhu ko imang vijataye jatang. It's actually a stanza from Samyutta Nikaya. So when he wrote the first thesis, it was a huge voluminous book already, and it is said the devas were not willing to give that book to him. It was hidden by the devas, so the first copy was hidden. It was not like those days, it was not like today. So he had to take the palm leaves, olive leaves. It was a very difficult process to make those olive leaves. I have seen how they do it in Sri Lanka. And in Sri Lanka, it was also written in the olive leaves, the entire Tipitaka in the 1st century AD by 500 scribes. So it's a very painstaking effort when you write. It's not like typing. It's not like writing, but you have to cut your nail here and keep the olive leaf over here on your thigh, and then you have to write with the copper. It was just like a meditation, and not a single mistake is done. You can erase if you do it. So it's really a very, very painstaking effort that he did. He completed his book thesis, and it was gone. Suddenly he found in the morning it was gone. So he had to write again. He wrote again, and it was also gone. See, it happens. Sometimes bad thing happens to good people. So we have to accept it. And that's the challenge. That is the testing for them. So he wrote again. He was not discouraged. He wrote again. And when he completed the third one, it is said the previous 2 copies were also there. So he had 3 copies. There were no mistakes. Everything was similar. In fact, this is how we also produce our final thesis to the university. Not 1 copy, but 3 copies. So he produced his thesis, his answer to their question, and then they allowed him to use the library, Mahavihara library. That's how Venerable Buddhaghosa started translating the Pali Atthakathas. And so he started with this beautiful stanza in the Visuddhimagga, path of purification. Sile patithaya naro sapanyo chittang panyancha bhavayang atapi nipako bhikkhu ko imang vijataye jatang. Sile patithaya naro sapanyo. Sapanyo is a wise person, narrow man, wise man. Sile patithaya, established in morality. Chittang panyancha bhavayam, it will develop chitta, the mind, and panya, the wisdom. Atapi nipako bhikkhu, that monk is always diligent and also mindful to details. And so imang vijate jatang, he is the one who can untangle the tangle. Yeah. So the very basis of this tangling business is the Sila. Yeah, that is the very key. That is the very foundation. So Sila is explained in so many wonderful suttas. And in we already know we have 5 Sila, right? Mancha Sila. And then we have Atta Sila. And then we have 10 Sila. And then we have 227 Sila. Then we have 311 Sila. And so many Silas are there. For the lay people, it's just 5 Sila. So if you want to be a Buddhist, you have to follow this 5 Sila, or you have to observe these 5 Sila. It looks like very easy, right? Just 5. And then if you want to become little more, you have to add 3 more. And so the third precept will be different there. And then if you want to become even more advanced in your practice, you have to add 2 more. That will become 10 Sila. You see now, the Thamanera monks also practice 10 Sila. And the lay people also practice 10 Sila. What is the difference? If a lay person breaks one of those Silas, only that Sila will be broken. But if a Samanera breaks one Sila, all the 10 Silas will be gone. So that's why it's more challenging for the Samaneras than the lay people. And when it comes to the Upasampada monks, 227 Silas. So compared to 5, it's a lot. And every time it's challenging for them. And bhikkhunis have even more, 311 Silas. So it's really lots of morality, lots of Silas, lots of things that we have to follow. And let's say, like, for example, the first Sila, Panati Pata Veramani, Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami, I undertake to observe the precept to abstain from killing living beings. So that is the first Sila. And of course, if you practice it, it will also save others' life. You will respect others' life. And when you respect others' life, your life will also be respected. That is the mutual guarantee that you have. In Abhisanda Sutta, the Buddha mentioned about that, how this is in Anguttara Nikaya. Mendicants, there are these 8 kinds of overflowing merits, overflowing goodness. They nurture happiness and are conducive to heaven, ripening in happiness and leading to heaven. They lead to what is likable, desirable, agreeable, to welfare and happiness. What 8? Firstly, a noble disciple has gone forth for refuge to the Buddha, and then the Dhamma and the Sangha, and then the 5 gifts are there. Those 5 gifts are primordial, long-standing, traditional, and ancient. They are uncorrupted, as they have been since the beginning. They are not being corrupted now, nor will they be. Sensible ascetics and Brahmins, don't look down on them. What 5? Firstly, a noble disciple gives up killing living creatures. By so doing, They give to countless sentient beings the gift of freedom from fear, from enmity and ill will. That's so wonderful. So when you offer that abhaya or life to others, and that compassion, that metta, will also be a guarantee for other sentient beings to, survive their life. And they themselves also enjoy unlimited freedom from fear, enmity, and ill will. This is the first gift that is a great offering, primordial, long-standing, traditional, and ancient. So this is the gift, first gift. Because when you take care of others' life, when you respect others' life, your life will also be respected. Let's say, like, for example, here, when you respect other sentient beings, even maybe the mosquitoes, even maybe other animals, birds, jungle animals, when you pay respect to them, they will recognize it, they will sense it, and they will also respect you. I remember there was one monk who was meditating in the forest, and one day he saw a snake under his pillow. Can you imagine? A venomous snake under his pillow, sleeping comfortably with the comfort of the cushion, And the monk saw it, and he was not panicked, luckily. And then he thought, okay, he might go away. So the monk was away from him for a while, and he came again, and the following day still he was there. The snake was still there. And monk gave some time for the snake, still he was there. And then he thought, he meditated. Monk was meditated and talking to the snake in meditation. Hey, my friend, now look, listen to me. Now you are here, I'm here, and I know we are all okay, but we can live together. Either you might harm me or I might harm you in the process. So with all due respect to you, I think it is time for us to separate. And magic happens. The snake lives. Snake left, and so they also feel something like that. And sometimes in our countries we have mosquitoes, all the time the mosquitoes sing for us. So we have to, when we hear the mosquito singing, people get irritated right away. This is the annoying, irritating mosquito. And then they are waiting for the mosquito to be killed. And sometimes you need to actually think of it. And I think if we pay respect to them, mosquitoes also, maybe, I think they will also respect us. I have actually experienced it myself. Sometimes when mosquitoes come to us, just waiting and giving some blood to them, and not panicking. And maybe if we have the anger, that becomes toxic. With the mosquito bite, our anger and our panicking and maybe our fast memory of the mosquito put together, that alchemy, that combination, that chemistry can make a toxic in us. So if you don't have that, maybe if you have the compassion, loving kindness, even towards the snake or even towards the mosquito, maybe you have a better chance of surviving. And remember, the Buddha was living in the jungle most of his life. He didn't have air condition. He didn't have glasses. He didn't have any mosquito nets, nothing. He was just sitting under a tree, sleeping inside the cave, very simple. And he was never bitten by a snake. and amazing. And he was never, he didn't have any mosquito problem or something like that. I know, I have stayed in India. I know how difficult it is when it comes to the mosquitoes and all that stuff. And especially in the monsoon countries, those bites, those flies and snakes and all these things can be there. But I think the power of the metta, the power of loving kindness, can win their heart towards you. So respecting others' life is really an important gift. And it is an insurance, it is an assurance that you also be respected by the others. And same thing with the second precept, that is called, I undertake to observe the precept to abstain from taking things not given. Adinna adana means, adinna means not given, adana is taking. So we know in the temple, you already have experienced that monks do not take unless they are offered. And now it is, I see the sign also, offered, not offered. Unless you see the sign offered, you don't take it. And that much is serious when it comes to the monks' sila. So especially the Upasampada monks, higher ordained monks and nuns, they are very serious about that. So when you take things, when you respect others' property, I think your property also will be respected by the others. That's how mutual it becomes. That's how beneficial it becomes. And this gift also is great, primordial, long-standing, traditional, and ancient. And then when it comes to the third precept, and that is called kame sumichachara veramani, you respect others' family life. When you respect others' family life, your family life will also be respected, right? That is very simple. That is also a great, wonderful morality, ethics that we can have, and that will give you innumerable benefits in your life. And so it goes on to say the other things as well. I think when it comes to the eighth precept, this third sila changes into complete absence of sexual contact, and that's a different thing. But I think this kame sumichachara can also be applied to our chakku, sota, ghana, jivha, kaya, and mana. When you see things, you are attracted to something. Let's say, like, you go for shopping, you want to buy maybe some rice, and then you see some other so many items, and your eyes can't really get rid of them. You want to buy this thing, that thing, and eventually you buy so many other things. You can really satisfy your eyes. So it is the contentment with what you have, rather than contentment with what you don't have. And also restraining and having that discipline is really, really, really important thing for all of us. And same thing with the chakku. When you see a rupa, a form, and you have the chakku, the rupa, and the chakku vijnana, the eye consciousness, right? All these three are combined together to make a karma. You see that rupa, and you judge on that, you react to that positively or negatively, and then it becomes your own good or bad karma. And same thing with the sota, the ear. You hear something, and then you also do the same thing. And so how do we restrain ourselves with those five faculties? One day a person came to Buddha. He said, uh, I don't have much time. If you can please give me a shortcut to Nibbana, I will really appreciate. He didn't want to follow too many things. He said, I need just a shortcut to Nibbana. The Buddha said, okay, there is a shortcut to Nibbana. You take care of your 5 senses. That will be the shortcut to Nibbana. Take care of 5 senses. That will be the Sila. Again, it's not so easy as we think. So, like the tongue, a lot of people want to go from one restaurant to another, from one food item to another, changing all the time, experiencing different tastes. So the tongue is also, again, it's the same food maybe, all it's in our mind. It's so difficult. Just like 6 inches from here to here, and beyond that you don't see anything, you don't feel anything, right? So if you take care of these 6 inches, that will be a savior for you. All the tastes will be here in between these two, and in fact the mind is the most important thing. So taking care of the tongue also will be important. And then the other the faculties as well, it is the same. So Sila means kaya vachanang samodhanang silang, it is said. Kaya is the body. So what do we do with the body? Panatipata, adinnadana, and kamesu miccachara, right? And then vacha is the 4 other defilements that you do through mouth. That is musavada, telling lies, and pisunavacha, slandering. You don't like when other good people are, having a good friendship, or you try to always mess with it and try to break them apart. And that is pisunavacha. And parusavacha, you want to use harsh words to hurt others. And then the sampapalapa, the endless gossip that we have using our mouth. That's why, like last night, I mentioned noble silence is the best way to take care of that. It is said the Bodhisattva during his paramita period, the entire paramita period, he has never ever told a lie. No musavada. It's amazing. Like it is also said, the Buddha had radiated, emanated such a fragrance, just like a lotus flower, from his mouth when he speaks. And because he was so truthful all the time, he never ever told a lie. And so, in order to protect that by ourselves, practicing more loving kindness, practicing more noble silence can help a lot. So taking care of this vacha and taking care of this kaya, it will be our key to success in Sila. As we mentioned, there are so many suttas there when it comes to the different kinds of Sila. And Anguttara Nikaya has something called Uposatha Sila, Uposatha Sutta. It talks about the sabbath, and there also the Buddha talks about the importance of Sila. Now, at the time it was the sabbath, the Buddha was sitting surrounded by the Sangha of monks. So what happened here actually, how important was the Sila for the monks? Monks, they used to gather twice a month. So they used to sit shoulder to shoulder, and they practice Patimokka. they recite Patimokkha. I think it's a good time for also for the monks and nuns to recite the Patimokkha, maybe during the Vasana period, twice a month or something. So you also learn it by heart, and then also it repeatedly reminds us the importance of our Sila, just like we practice the Panchasila or Attasila or Dasasila or something. It's also good to remind those Patimokkha Silas. So one day the Buddha was sitting surrounded by the monks, and it was still getting late, and there was no sign of Buddha reciting the Patimokkha uh, for the monks. And then Venerable Ananda, he said, it's late, getting late, and Mahasangha has been sitting long. Venerable the Blessed One, please recite the monastic code to the mendicants. And and then Buddha did not say anything. He was quiet. He kept quiet. And then the second time also, Venerable Ananda asked the same thing. Buddha was quiet. Third time also, then the Buddha said, Ananda, the assembly is not pure. One culprit is there. So if the assembly is not pure, Buddha would not recite. And then Venerable Mahamoggallana thought somebody should be there. He used this magical power to find the bad guy. He saw someone sitting, and this monk was, he saw that unethical person of bad qualities, and it is said filthy with suspicious behavior, underhand, no true ascetic or spiritual practitioner, though claiming to be one, rotten inside, corrupt and depraved, sitting in the middle of the Sangha. So Buddha did not recite this Patimokkha. And then Venerable Moggallana went to him, get up, Reverend. The Buddha has seen you already. He can see you, okay? So you can live in the community here. So you better leave. And he was also quiet. He did not say anything. He was unmoved. Venerable Moggallana asked for the second time, no response. Asked for the third time, no response. Then he took him out out of the gate and locked the gate. It is said. And then the Buddha decided after that, I'm not going to recite the Patimokkha for you. You can do it yourself. Now, mendicants, you should perform the sabbath and recite the monastic code. From this day forth, I will not perform the sabbath or recite the monastic code. It's impossible, mendicants. It can happen that a realized one could recite the monastic code in an impure assembly. So, taking care of that is again a very, very important thing. And Sabbath with 8 factors, this again is called Sankittuposatha Sutta. And there also Buddha talks about another. I think here when he was in Jetavana monastery, this Anguttara Nikaya, Sankittuposatha Sutta. And there he was again talking about the importance of practicing the Sila, 5 precepts. And all those precepts are mentioned here. And in Vittatuposatha Sutta again in detail, it is mentioned about the importance of different suttas. And also when you become a Silavan person, your life will also be protected. Plus those people who practice Sila can also be born in a better realm. And if you are not born in a better realm, like a heavenly realm, and you will be born in a human realm with more good features. Like those people who are really concerned about the beauty, the pretty, the glamour, this is the best way. Just practice Sila, and you don't need to have any cosmetics. You don't need to have any other um, outside aid to support or hide your age. Your Sila can radiate your own beautiful complexion, and everyone around will feel that energy. I think that saves a lot of money too, right? Yeah. So the Buddha say here, you shouldn't kill living creatures or steal or lie or drink alcohol. Be celibate, refraining from sex, and don't eat at night the wrong time. Not wearing garlands or applying perfumes. You should sleep on a low bed or a mat on the ground. This is the eight-factored Sabbath that way, explained by the Buddha who has gone to suffering's end. The moon and sun are both fair to see, radiating as far as they revolve. Those shining ones in the sky light up the quarters, dispelling the darkness as they traverse the heavens. All of the wealth that's found in this realm, pearls, gems, fine beryl too, horn gold, or mountain gold, or natural gold dug up by marmots. They are not worth the 16th part of the Sabbath with its 8 factors. As starlight cannot rival the moon, so an ethical woman or man who has observed the 8 factor Sabbath, having made merits those outcome is happens, blameless they go to a heavenly place. So how important it is to practice Sila is mentioned here in this wonderful sutta. Again, there is another sutta called Visakha Sutta. It was also preached to Visakha. All this and much more are mentioned here in the Tipitaka, especially when it comes to the Sila. Vinayo nama sasanasa ayu. Vinaya is the very lifeline of the sasana. So it's very important that we take care of the Vinaya and morality, and that is really important. I remember a Sanskrit sloka this time. It is said there are 4 things that are common to both humans and animals. Okay. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maitunascha. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maitunascha. Samanyametat Pashubhir Naranam. Dharmo hi tesha madhiko vishesha. Dharmena hina Pashubhis samana. So ahara means food, and nidra is sleep, and bhaya is the fear, and then maithuna is the sex. So all these 4 things are common to both humans and animals. And what is the difference? Difference is the dharma. Dharma is the difference between all these. So dharmena hinah pasubis samana. When you don't have the dharma, even if you are a man or human being, you are just like an animal. So very important it is to see that this vinaya or this morality or ethical code of conduct for our life. And if we practice Sila, that will be very helpful to all of us to become better meditation practitioners. Sometime in meditation, people see they have difficulty in concentrating. they say, they complain, I can't concentrate, my mind always wander away, I don't know why, and then sometimes even sometimes it happens, sometimes it goes on and off, and so they find it difficult. So that is why it is important to go back to the Sila. Take care of your Sila. Think if you have done something wrong in your Sila, and take care of it and come back it. And then your meditation will be more successful. And so it's important that Sila, that very foundation, is so important in us. In Visuddhimagga, there are 7 kinds of purifications, right? Sila Visuddhi is the first one. So purification by way of Sila, practicing Sila. And then the other practices are there: Chitta Visuddhi, Kankha, Vitarana Visuddhi. You have to dispel the doubt, you have to clear your mind, and you have to purify your mind. And then Magga Jnana Dasana Visuddhi, you have to know what is right, what is wrong. All these should be there. They are all part of our purification. Sila again is the first there. So like yesterday we were talking about the dana, Sila also plays such an important part in our life. When you practice Sila, you look beautiful. When you practice Sila, you look also you become very kind and compassionate. And when you practice Sila, you become very strong and very confident. They're like those people who practice Sila are very, very good in sharing their Dhamma or sharing their views with the other people also. And it really helps. So practicing Sila gives you so much confidence for yourself, and it can be radiated, it can be reflected when you work with the other people. So practicing Sila again is important, and it can help us in proceeding through our spiritual journey. Okay, with that I would like to stop here for now, and if we have any questions, you are welcome.
Namayang Dhammakataya Sadhukarang Dadamase Sadhu 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 Anumodami.
Thank you, Bhante Sumitta, for those words of Dhamma. And there are a couple comments and questions already. And for anyone else, feel free to type in any questions you might have. So Gita asks, Bhante, are all 3 copies still in Sri Lanka today from Venerable Buddha Gosa?
I am not sure if we have all these copies, but these olive leaves can survive for thousands of years. But this happened in 5th century AD, and I'm not sure if it is still available though. But it is said when he wrote the Attakathas, he translated the Attakathas into Pali, and they were buried on the earth. That is the Mother Earth's womb, the safest place. So we don't know actually for sure. I'm not sure if we have all those copies. As everything is impermanent, maybe some of them must have been still there, but not all.
And Ayavimalanyani asks, Bhante, can you explain what you meant when you said that if a samanera or samaneri breaks one sila, all 10 will be broken?
Yes, it's like a chain. If one link is shaken, the impact will be happening all throughout the chain. So it is said Samaneras and Samaneris have to take care of all the 10 Silas. And that is also why they have to retake the Sila. For those people who are a little worried about that, or should we take the Sila or is it so challenging? Let's say like you observe 5 Sila, Pancha Sila, and let's say like you are more comfortable with the first Sila, and maybe you have to figure out which Sila is more weak in you and which Sila is more stronger in you, and then you have to make some effort. Let's say you have the tendency to tell lies. There can be people like that. So or something else, maybe like taking alcohol or something. And so still try the other Sila, and eventually you will feel that it's important. And also when you observe the precepts, let's say for lay people, I'll come back to the others. When you observe the 5 precepts, let's say now you observe the 5 precepts in the morning and you decide, you determine yourself, I'm not going to break any of these 5 sila until evening 5 o'clock or something. You determine, and during that time do not break the sila. That's important. And let's say, okay, by chance, it still happened, okay. This is again, to err is human. And so you observe the sila again, and then the more you observe, the more determined you should become. And then you also listen to yourself and talk to yourself, I'm not going to break the sila, I'm trying my best not to break the sila. So it's important. And also for the samaneras and samaneris, they also have to observe all the 10 silas, and they have to repeat it, they have to talk to themselves, and they have to make sure that they are not going to break any of the silas. If you break it, it's still okay. You observe again. Be sincere, just be honest is very, very important again, in practicing the sila, because it's not going to deceive others. You can maybe deceive others, but you can deceive yourself, right? You will always feel that guilty consciousness will be there haunting, when you face the final death or something. It is said, when somebody is in the deathbed, if you are asked, how do you feel, in retrospection, I feel okay, I have done my duty, I have protected, observed my sila. And if you can be really confident, you are very, very good practitioner then. So it's very important that you practice sila, be sincere and be honest to yourself. And I think it's very important, like whether you are confident or not, whether you are ready to take the sila, then only you do it, right? So it's important too. Whether you want to go from five precepts to 8 precepts, from 8 precepts to 10 precepts, and do it. Just keep doing it and make it a habit. Again, that habit will be so important in the whole course of your samsara. Like maybe this is a testing time for us. This is a practical time for us, and that practice, that habit, can help us all the time in our samsara. Whether you are a samanera or samaneri, whether you are a upasampada, a bhikkhu or bhikkhuni, whether you are just a layperson, practicing sila is the key to your success in the spiritual journey. And remember, many of these silas are not legally wrong. Let's say you eat in the night, it's not legally wrong. Nobody will punish you. This is you yourself have that commitment, and you take it very seriously when it comes to that. For example, in the Majjhima Nikaya, Dhammadayada Sutta, Buddha says, He's giving an example. Now I have taken food. My bowl has some more food left. So 2 monks are coming to the temple and they are so hungry. So what do you think? What do you do? And then this food, if you do not take, I will throw it away. Now you are hungry. Okay, I have food. I am also full. I don't want to eat it anymore. So what do you do? One of the monks said, now the Buddha also has had his food, and this is the leftover food, and he is not going to use it anymore. He's going to dump it to the trash otherwise. So why not I eat that, and then I will practice, I'll get some energy. And then the other monks, no, the Buddha said, we should be Dhammadayada, not Amisadayada. We should have the heritage of the Dhamma, not the Amisa. And therefore, even if I don't eat this, I will not die. I'm okay. I will bear my hunger. It's okay. I can still hold it. And he will not eat it. So out of the two, the Buddha appreciates the second one. Buddha appreciates the second one. So that is the commitment. That is the energy. That is the adhitthana, the virya that one can have when it comes to practice. So Sila is really, again, important. There was a story of a monk who actually was practicing in the jungle. And then there was a group of robbers. Actually, they came. They were passing by. The monk was meditating, and they saw the monk was meditating. And then they were worried about this monk. They thought this monk would tell this thing to the government, the king and those Rajapurisas, I mean the police. And then they were worried about that. So they were trying to tie him with something they could not find. It is said they found what we call rasakinda. Rasakinda is a very weak creeper. Okay, that is actually Tinospora, I think, Tinospora cordifolia. That is the botanical term. So they tied the monk with that rasakinda creeper, and they left. And then the monk was he was meditating, and he could have easily broken them apart. He didn't do it. He didn't do it because he would know that breaking that would also maybe break his own sila. So he didn't do it. He was ready even to die. And it is said a passerby actually rescued him. That was the kind of sila, that was the kind of dedication, commitment of those practitioners, great practitioners. So by listening to these stories, learning about their life, their experience, can really also, mold us, can really help us evolve ourselves in the spiritual journey.
And we have a question from Kumu who says, Bhante, can you please explain the precept on eating at the wrong time? Is it the wrong time, or is the wrong time after 12 p.m. or another time, for example, after the sun goes down?
Yeah, I think that the 12 p.m. in the sense now it's the modern way, like it is the sun that matters. Like the sun and the moon, they were their natural calendar. The timing and all, they were thinking of it. Nowadays, let's say like the sun here, like when I came from Los Angeles, it is 3 hours difference here. So my time zone was different. And then from our country is like the other side of the earth is like 12-14 hours different. So it is the sun that matters. And those days they had natural ways to recognize the time. I have seen in Abhayagiri monastery in Sri Lanka, not here, the ancient Abhayagiri monastery. I have seen that natural clock, you know, how they recognize the time. There was a circle and the timing was marked, and then there was a stick. Okay. So with the sun coming, you can see the shade. So they can see the time. And that's how they practice. Amazing practice they had to maintain the practices. Still those Mahayana headquarters, Abhayagiri, Jetavana, still they were practicing those things. We really have to see how they have been preserving those practices so much, even during those ancient time. So most of those ancient monks, traditional monks and nuns, they still practice those traditional timing, like the moon. They also practice the full moon day with the moon. Moon practice in Sri Lanka, we have every full moon day is a public bank and mercantile holiday. So people can go to the temple and practice uposatha. You know, every people person go to the temple and they practice 8 precepts. They wear white clothes and they sit on the ground, become like remove all the ornaments and no perfume. Very simple, wearing white, and that also give a good opportunity for them to practice. And the monks also, every full moon day, they get together, they assemble, and they also recite the uposatha. So it's very important to remember. And practicing 5 precepts is like a daily practice. So maybe like in a day, like you can also observe several times if you want. Or like every time you feel I want to observe the 5 precepts, you can do it all the time. And when you observe the 8 precepts, you determine, okay, from morning till this time I observe the 8 precepts. If you want to release, how do you do that? You take 5 precepts. And that's how you release the 8 precepts. And then you are back to 5 precepts. So you don't break in between. So all the time you practice 5 precepts. And yes, it is the sun and the moon that normally we take. But in the modern sense, it is like we can also follow the clock. That is okay. But now it is, I think, more accurate with the timing, right? We can see the sunset, sunrise, and all these things are readily available. So hopefully the modern day clocks are also fine.
And Gita asks, some mosquitoes carry deadly West Nile virus that can kill other beings. So what does one do without harming? Can you use a repellent for protection?
Yes, I think, let's say you are in a mosquito prone area. So you have to take care of it, but do not try to harm them, because their life also matters. Whether they are venomous or not. Let's say snakes are venomous. So do we have the right to eradicate all of them? No. They also, the world, the earth belong to them as well, right? When we bought this land, you did not pay money to the snakes. Right? So and the mosquitoes, you did not pay them. So they have the right to live also. It's important. I saw yesterday that's a small one, what you call it?
The clover mite.
What is it?
Clover mite.
Clover mite, right? The clover mite everywhere. I saw that, some thousands of them. So you did not pay them. So they might come in sometimes, we have to pay respect to them too, whether they are whatever mosquito venomous or not. You take care of them. You actually maintain safe distance, as just like the monk was doing with the snake. Or maybe you can use mosquito net. You can also clean your home, and so that way they will not come and live inside. Do it, but do not intentionally harm them. I've seen some, like, people use some fans or electric something to kill. I think that's really very very unkind kind of thing. Yeah.
And there's a question from Zen that says, how does Sila improve meditation?
Sila definitely improve meditation, because when we meditate, it is the restlessness, it is the shaken mind that disturbs us all the time. So when you bodily and verbally calm, tranquilize, it's so easy for us to go to samadhi, and that is why Sila is important, right? So if I don't move, that is my Sila. I don't break any Sila, and then if I don't say anything, it also helps me. Like so, verbal and bodily, kaya vachanang samodhanang silang, silana tena silang. So when you practice Sila, you take care of your bodily and verbal actions. That way you can go to samadhi easily. Yeah.
And Naval asks, is lying for a good cause, like saving a life, wrong?
White lie. That's why, like, even for a good cause, Buddha said, do not tell lies. That's why he maintained silence. Noble silence is the answer. So you don't tell lies. You don't break the Sila. If there is something like that, just keep quiet. And I remember there was a story of King Dutugamunu in Sri Lanka. And one day, he and his brother was fighting. They were fighting, and his brother was chasing him. And this young elder prince, he actually lost. And he came to the temple. He was running to the temple, and he was hiding under the monk's bed at the temple. So the monk saw the prince is hiding, and then the brother was coming, and he was asking, did you see my brother? And the monk said, he is not on the bed. He was actually under the bed, not on the bed. So trying to, like, maybe kind of it's very tricky. Yeah, but not to tell lies would be very important. I think even in the court, you take a Bible or you take a Dhammapada, right? So you take a vow, I'm not going to tell lies or something. You are going to be truthful. I think it's very important. The more you become truthful, the more sincere you become, and the more respected you become. Yeah, it's important to be truthful.
Great. Thank you, Bhante. And on Instagram, we have a few questions. So Vibhaka says, I only know about the 8 precepts, Bhante. Can you please tell us what are the 2 other silas? I believe that is probably the Samaneri precepts.
So in the five precepts we know, and when it comes to the others, taking food in the improper time, and then Natcha Gita Vadita Visuka Dassana Mala Gandha Vilepana Dharana Mandana Vibhusanattana. So those are the ornaments and the fragrance and all kinds of things that you use and you don't do it on your precept 8 precept day, and then also Uchasayana Mahasayana, like not to use those high and comfortable seats. And then here in the 8 precepts, I think one precept is broken into 2, right? Which one is that?
So, Nachagita Vadita Visuddhasana, and then Malaganda.
Malaganda Vilepana. So Nachagita Vadita Visuka Dasana Malaganda Vilepana Dharana Mandana becomes 2 in 10 precepts. And then the last one is Jata Rupa Rajata Patighana. That means you do not accept any Jata Rupa means gold. It is actually like accepting the money or something. That doesn't happen in the 10 precept. Is that okay, Bhante? Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante. And Buddha Teachings, well, has 2 questions. One, I think, is good for this evening, for non-chat. So save that for this evening, Buddha Teachings. But the other one is on topic. It says, Bhante, should we eat meat? And what if everyone stops eating non-veg? Will there be balance in the ecosystem? So I think they're talking in terms of Sila.
Like we think of ourselves like that, right? What about like growing the population of humans? What about the others? Animals also think the same way. Now there are too many people. Why don't we eat them? Right? Compared to the population some years ago, now the population has too many humans. Like who will judge that? What authority do we have to judge? Okay, this is the number of animals that we have, that we should have. We don't have that authority, I suppose. So that is out of question, like the animals, whether they are more and more, that will become a natural course. The nature will take care of it. And we don't have, it's okay if we are really, so dedicated to our Sila, we have the right. But without that, I don't think there is any authority for us to eradicate certain animals or something like that. No authority. Very simple. We don't have any authority to do that.
Great. Thank you, Bhante. And the last question was whether or not you were from Asia. From Asia, and yes, I can answer for that. Bhante is from Sri Lanka. So there's also Buddha Teachings is asking, are there other ways for enlightenment than Vipassana meditation? This is good for this evening, again, Buddha Teachings. So maybe back to someone.
Yeah, there's one more question from YouTube, which is, are there any examples of the 3rd precept for lay Buddhists in the suttas?
For?
The 3rd precept, specifically what not to do.
Yeah. I think taking care of the others' family life, respecting others' family life, it is mentioned in all these suttas that I mentioned. It's already a big problem in the world when you deceive, when you cheat. It can really disturb the family life. You are not loyal. You are cheating each other, and also having sexual misconduct. I think for lay people, Buddha had not avoided them to have sexual conduct. He said, don't have sexual misconduct. I think this is a very important thing. So you can have your legal partner, your family. You can have your family life. That is perfectly all right. But he was saying completely no to sexual misconduct. This is important. Like we know, like one of the most deadliest diseases nowadays like AIDS or something can happen due to sexual misconduct, right? Many disastrous diseases can happen, and family life can be in jeopardy if we do not follow this Sila. So it's a really important thing for smooth functioning of our social relationships. Sarah, do you have any question?
I have a lot of questions. I guess since I've been living here for a month and I'm leaving today, I'm wondering maybe, this is very specific to me, but pertaining to Sila, if you have any suggestions how to follow that outside of the monastic community for lay people.
Yeah, I think what you practice here will be applied in the greater society. So you can run away from the society forever. You know, you learn this theory, you apply that in the society. So like monks practice in the jungle, but they can live in the jungle forever. Sometimes they have to come to the society to do. So you have to, when you see that, you see how difficult it is. You know, it's like the tongue inside the teeth. So it will be challenging, but the mindfulness, you know, and alertness, also your determination. And if you ever feel like from time to time, I think it is important that you come to a retreat from time to time, maybe once in 6 months or something. Go to the monastery, you know, stay there for a while, practice 10 days or something, and then once a month practice 8 precepts if possible. That will be great. In Sri Lanka, we have actually once in 4 times a month people practice 8 precepts, and some even do the once a month thing, and 5 precepts practice can be done every day. You know, you in the morning or whatever, when you pray, do some meditation and observe the 5 precepts, and you constantly observe your conduct. That will be helpful to you. Yeah. Good luck.
All right. Well, it seems like that's it for this morning. So thanks everyone for joining us. And I left a few links in the live chat. So if you'd like to find out more information about Bhante Sumitta's temple and organization in California, DHAMMA USA, then you can follow the link. There's not just in-person events happening, but also online resources like Pali classes, etc. So click the link, dhammausa.org, if you'd like to find out more information. And you can also find out more about events here at Empty Cloud by checking our events calendar. And also, if you'd like to come and visit to do a residency of 2 weeks or more, you can find more information there as well. But this evening, we'll have Monk Chat at 7:30 p.m. where you can ask any questions we couldn't get to this morning. And we can end with 3 sadhus. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Should we transfer minutes? For the sake of all attainment and success, may all heavenly beings, spirits, sentient beings rejoice in the extent to which we have gathered a consummation of merit. Ittavata cham hehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata cham hehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti patti siddhya ittavata cayamhehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. May all departed ones receive this merit, share this merit, and be well, happy, and healthy and safe wherever they are. Idang me ñātinang hotu sukheta hontu ñātayo. Idang me ñātinang hotu sukheta hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātinang hotu sukheta hontu ñātayo. By means of this meritorious deed, may I never join with the foolish. May I join always with the wise, until the time I attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. May we all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana, the absolute peace and happiness at the end of our samsara, by the powerful merit that we have all accrued by listening and participating this Dhamma talk. Idang me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu sabba bhaya pamuncatu sabba roga pamuncatu. Sadhu, sadhu.